So, someone asked me recently what makes me different from other career coaches. Here's the truth: most career coaches have never fired anyone, nor have they laid off thousands of people. And HR business partners, most of them, if anyone, has ever been laid off 4 times. And here's the kicker: most career coaches are still giving 2019 advice in a 2025 AI powered job market because they don't understand the technology that's revolutionizing not only the way we work, but the way that we find jobs today. I'm different. I've spent 25 years managing layoffs. I've been the one delivering the messages, and I've been the one helping leaders make impossible decisions that impact people's lives. Now, on the flip side, I've also been on the receiving end 4 times myself. I have felt that gut punch. I have questioned my self worth, and I've wondered how I'm going to survive financially during this period. But what really sets me apart is my extensive AI training and certification. So while other coaches are still just telling you to network more or customize your resume, I'm showing you how to use AI to analyze job trends in real time, customize effective outreach messages, and even practice interviewing using AI tools and feedback. Now, I've invested hundreds of hours over the past 2 years, really, mastering AI tools specifically for career strategy because one, that's what I love and what I'm passionate about. But two, also because I saw that's where the job market was going. So, that being said, I seriously doubt you'll find anyone else who has this complete view. One, the layoff experience from both sides of the table. Two, with my 25 years of HR expertise. And then three, the cutting edge AI training that gives you an unfair advantage in this job search game. So that's exactly the perspective that I bring here to Exit to Excel, the unfiltered truth that your HR department will not give you, combined with real experience of someone who has been where you are, plus AI powered solutions that accelerate your recovery. So, welcome to Exit to Excel. I'm Latanya, they call me LT, and I am your untraditional HR business partner who is actually on your side. Now, if you are coming back and joining us again, then welcome back. Thank you for being here. And if this is your first time, then welcome. Note that this podcast is the one that gives you insider knowledge, AI powered tools, and practical strategies to help you navigate your career strategically. So, whether you have experienced job loss, you are concerned that your job may be impacted, with the layoff, you are gunning for a promotion, or you're navigating office politics, I am here to help you. And again, I am here to tell you the things that your HR department and HR manager probably will not tell you. Now, the podcast is now coming to you 3 times a week, and we're giving focused, actionable episodes that you can implement immediately. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of these episodes and smash that like button. And probably more importantly, share this with someone who can use it because as the job report indicates as of last week, it's looking pretty bleak. And we are currently in a situation where there are more job seekers than there are actual jobs. And unfortunately, October tends to be a very busy month for employers as they execute these layoffs, trying to make their year end numbers. So I'm expecting that we're going to see even more releases coming next month. So share this with people because, as you'll hear me say all the time, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And that's what we're here. That's what we're about here on this podcast, is to give you the tools so that you can exit to excel. Now, speaking of, staying ready so that you don't have to get ready. Last week, I discussed what not to do when you're informed of a layoff or that your job is being impacted. So if you saw that episode, you're probably wondering, well, hey, okay, I know what to do now. What the hell do I do? And that's what we're going to talk about today. The strategic moves that can turn your layoff from a crisis into a competitive advantage, powered by both insider knowledge and very effective smart AI tools. Because remember this, the reason why, I'm focusing on the first 48 hours is because what you do in these 48 hours can absolutely determine what happens over the next 6 months. And I want to make sure that you get it right. Okay. So let's get to it. So I would like to introduce you to the F48 framework. This is my signature framework that I've perfected after guiding thousands of people through layoffs and also experiencing it myself 4 times. And I've called it the F48 because, as I said, it's those first 48 hours after you've been notified, that are extremely crucial to your recovery and future success. Now, the framework consists of 3 different phases. The first phase is focus, and this is the first hour before you leave the building or before you are officially terminated and released by the company. This is about staying focused despite the emotional chaos and roller coaster that you'll probably experience. Phase 2 is facts. These are hours 2 through 6. This is when you're doing your strategic assessment. This is when you gather information before making decisions. And then the last phase is the foundation phase. These are the hours between 12 and 24 when you're taking control. This is when you're building the foundation for your next chapter using both strategic thinking and AI powered tools. Now, the beauty of this system is that it works with your brain and not against it. Because trust me, when you go through this process and you are first informed, thank you, but your services are no longer needed, you're in shock. And when you're in shock, you need structure. And when your emotions are high, you need guardrails. And this is exactly what the F48 system gives you. Plus, I'm going to show you how to use AI to accelerate each phase. So let's talk about the first phase, the focus phase. Again, this is within the first hour that you have been notified that your job is being eliminated. Now, for some people, you may be notified in advance of when you are officially going to be released from the job. Some people, they are released the same day that they are informed. And some people are informed, but they're kept on payroll for a period of time before their official last date. Nonetheless, regardless of what scenario applies to you, the first hour that you are informed is extremely critical. And I'm going to give you some specific things and specific steps that you need to take. Action 1 is get everything in writing. Look, I get it. You have a good memory. You don't typically have to take a lot of notes, but trust me, this is a time you want to take notes because your system is in a fight or flight response and your stress hormones are at an all-time high. So this is the time that you need to get everything in writing and don't trust your memory. Now, I want you to ask them for written confirmation of everything that is discussed. I want you to get confirmation of your official last day, your severance details if you're getting severance, your benefits timeline, everything. Now, if you are getting a severance package and if you're with a larger company, as I have been most of the time, they pretty much give you all the information that you need, right? It usually comes in an email and, they're going to send it to you automatically. Now, if you are in a smaller organization or in an organization that their HR processes are not quite as buttoned up, it's very important for you to get everything in writing. So I would just say, hey, can you please send me written confirmation of everything we've discussed today? Then that way you can have it. Okay. So that's step number 1, getting everything in writing. Step number 2 is understanding your timeline. I cannot emphasize how important this is. Now, you're going to need 4 key dates, and I want you to get a pen and paper, pencil and paper, because I want you to write these down right now. I'll wait. Okay, I want you to write these down. These are the 4 key dates that you need to know in this meeting. One is your last day of work. As I mentioned, you may not be released the same day you are notified. So, for example, for me, I was notified on October the 15th, but my official last day was not until October the 31st. Now, I was not required to work after the 15th. They call that a non-working notice. Some people may have to work, but the most important thing you want to know is what is your official last date, because that is the date that is going to be reported to the state for your unemployment benefits. So you will want to know that. So that's the first thing you need to know. That is your last day of work. Secondly is when does your health insurance end? Now, for the most part, a lot of employers do not terminate health benefits in the middle of the month. They tend to terminate the last day of the month. So, most of the time, depending on your severance or whatever, your benefits will end the last day of the month that you are an active employee. Now, if you're on severance, it may continue through your severance period. Every organization does it different. That's why it's important for you to ask the question, when does your health insurance end? So that you will know and that you can prepare accordingly. The third thing I want you to ask or understand is, when do you need to return your company property? Some people will allow you to keep it during your non-working period. Some people expect you to return it immediately. Go ahead and ask, when do you need to return it and what the process is, okay? And you'll want to write all that down. The third action I want you to take is secure your references. Now, this is important. I have to admit that I have not done this anytime, but thinking about it and counseling other people, I'm like, you know what, this is so important. When you are notified, it's important to ask your hiring manager and those who have worked the closest with you if they can provide you with a written letter of reference. Now, note that when the company gives you a reference, most of the time, 90% of the time, they're only going to give the position, your position, and your dates of employment. When you're asking for a reference, a letter of reference from your manager, it's considered a personal reference, right? They're providing it on their behalf, not on behalf of the company. But it's important to ask it at this juncture because you want to be able to strike while the iron is hot, so to speak. And most of the time people feel awful about what's taking place and they're willing to do, anything. So I would definitely go ahead and get that on their radar, make the request, and don't wait until 6 months down the road when they've forgotten what you have contributed or they no longer respond to your phone calls and emails. Trust me, it happens. Okay. The fourth thing I want you to do is gather your personal information. If you have a personal work phone, you want to go ahead and get all of your personal contacts from it, from your computer, because note, they are going to terminate your access. Now, that's one thing that I messed up in my last layoff is that I did not understand. I misunderstood when my access was going to be terminated. I thought I had more time and I didn't. And I wasn't able to get any of my personal information documentation from my computer. You want to get your performance reviews, any commendation or awards, even emails where people have commended you on doing a good job or being a good team player or stepping up to the plate. You want to get everything that can be included in your own personal records and in your brag book, right? Because you're going to need that for your job search. So make sure you get those things. Now, I know a lot of computers and systems don't allow you to download things or transfer them. So if you have to, take your phone and take, pictures of your computer, but you'll want to get the evidence as quick as you can while it's available to you. Now, the fifth thing which is probably the most important, is to stay professional. Now, I know how hard it is. I know how painful it is when you feel like you've been stabbed in the heart and stabbed in the back at the same time. But you need to remain professional. Thank them for the opportunity and ask about next steps. But whatever you do, don't vent, don't argue, and don't burn bridges. Because trust me, we talk about the people who showed their flat behind in these meetings and have taken it out on us. We remember that. And that's the note that you leave on. But we also remember the people who were extremely gracious and who understood that it was a business decision and who did their best to make the process as easy as possible. We remember and we talk about it. So you never know. I always tell people the world is small. So this is your time to, be the consummate professional, because trust me, we're going to remember that and it's going to serve you well. Okay. Now, phase number 2 is facts. And these are the hours 2 through 6. This is after the conversation has ended and you're still processing, but you're still not ready to make any big decisions because, again, we are processing. So this is what I want you to do during the next 2 to 6 hours after you've been notified. The first thing is your financial assessment. You want to be able to know how far your unemployment or your severance is going to carry you, because that is the majority of the stress, right? Whenever we lose a job. So we want to go ahead and tackle this first. So calculate your monthly expenses, figure out how long your severance is going to last. Also, go ahead and research your unemployment benefits. Every state is different. Some states allow you to collect unemployment while you're on severance. Some states, like Florida, require that you complete your severance and then your unemployment benefits begin after a 1 week waiting period. So it's good to go ahead and know that information up front. So go ahead and research those unemployment benefits. This isn't just about doing the math. This is really about having a peace of mind, because when you know your financial runway, then you're able to better make strategic decisions versus making desperate ones. Okay. Now I'm going to give you an AI prompt to help you with this step. And it reads, help me create a layoff financial plan. My monthly expenses are, and you'll want to put that in, and your severance amount, and how much you are eligible for unemployment every week. Calculate my financial runway and suggest a strategic budget for my job search period, including networking, professional development, and emergency reserves. Now I'm going to post that down below so you can go ahead and cut and paste it and, use it now or keep it for future reference in case you need it. And also, that reminds me, if you are still working, it is good to know all of this information in advance. So a lot of companies, they have what they call an ERISA plan that outlines the severance that, employees get. Either it's by level and tenure or level and tenure. It's usually, information that's available, or maybe you can ask your HR department. And you can also go ahead and research the unemployment benefits that are available to your state. And then that way you can kind of gauge on where you stand in the event that you are impacted by a role elimination. Now, the second thing I want you to do is now comb through and review all the documentation that they gave you. That is your severance agreement, if they gave you a copy of the employee handbook, if they gave you a copy of your job application letter or employment contract, any non-compete agreements. Now, I don't want you to sign your severance agreement yet, okay? We're still processing. We're gathering all our information to see if there's anything we don't understand or we didn't get. That's the only thing we're doing here. We will, go back to the severance agreement later and negotiate if we feel like it's warranted, okay? But right now we're just reviewing our documentation. Step number 3 is your communication strategy planning. Now, I want you to decide who needs to know now, right? Who do you personally want to tell before you announce it on social media. I don't want you to announce it on social media just yet because while you're still in this processing phase, I don't want you bombarded with outreaches from people because people mean well, but you're still in a very emotional state. You're still processing. So I really want you to limit that communication to your closest friends and family and trusted advisors. But then you also can go ahead and start drafting your LinkedIn post. But I don't want you to publish it yet. I just want you thinking about it and I want you to control the narrative. That's why we're going to hold off posting it so that you can post it when you've had a chance to, process everything and you're not reacting emotionally. Now, you can use AI to do this as well. And if you're interested in the AI prompt that I use, then use the hashtag below LinkedIn and I will send you the exact AI prompt that I use that is extremely effective. And again, it's not just a one liner, it's actually 3 or 4 lines where you're putting in some very key information. So if you are interested in that prompt, again, comment hashtag LinkedIn below, and I'll be sure to send that to you to help you draft your LinkedIn announcement. Now, the most important rule of this phase is I don't want you applying to jobs yet. Okay. What I have found is when you are applying for jobs this soon after you've been notified or let go, you are operating off of emotion and you'll apply for anything that looks remotely close to what you've been doing, right? And unfortunately, all you're doing is hurting yourself in the long run because one, you're going to get a lot of rejections, right? And that can have an impact on your confidence and your psyche. And two, when we see people that are out there, applying for anything and everything, especially if you're recruiting a company and I see you've applied for 3 or 4 jobs and you haven't even changed your current job on your LinkedIn profile, it says to us that you are just, you know, blindly just throwing a dart, hoping you're going to hit something. So I want you to take a breath and take a pause. Don't apply for any jobs yet. We will get to that soon enough. Okay. 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 So phase 3 is the foundation. We're going to set the foundation now. And this is what you're doing between the 12th and 24th hour after you've been notified. Now, this is when you start taking control and you are building a strong foundation for your comeback. So step number 1 is I want you to go through all of the documentation, all the notes you took, everything they gave you, and see if there's anything missing, if you have any questions that you need to follow up with HR on. Okay. That's the first thing. The second thing is I want you to build your well-being plan. Now, what I mean by that is your mental and physical health. I cannot stress enough how important this is because these things directly impact your job search. So you want to plan daily physical activity, whether that's meditating, whether it's yoga, maybe it's, going around and walking in the mall or walking around, the park or outside, or getting together with friends periodically for a cup of coffee is so important. Now, thankfully for me, during this layoff, I had a dog. I haven't had a dog in previous years. And Rocky, I have to get out with him 3 times a day. And I can't tell you, being out and talking to people and sharing with them that I was in transition and pursuing other opportunities, how supportive people were, how they were connecting me with other people and giving me ideas and brainstorming. And that's really how this podcast came to be, by me walking around and meeting people and just, thinking outside the box in terms of what I wanted this next phase to be. So do yourself a favor, get out there, get some physical activity done, schedule those social connections, practice mindfulness, because honestly, Depression and isolation are job search killers. Trust me. Now, not the last step, but the next step is strategic planning. And this is where you're going to start thinking about your next move. So, what I want you to do here is think about, okay, forgetting what you've done in the past and the job that you just left. If you could do anything, right? If you could just snap your fingers and be in this job, what job would that be? What industry would that be in? What size company? I just want you to start thinking at a high level so that when we get down to doing the real work in terms of really crafting out what that strategy is going to be, getting you to your next role, you'll already have an idea of what it's going to be. But at this point, it's all about looking ahead and not looking back. Okay. So that's why I want you to start thinking about it. Now, we're not going to execute on anything, we're still planning, but I want you to start thinking at a high level so that when we do get to implementing, you already have an idea of where you want to go. Now, I do have a very effective AI prompt that is good for this exercise as well. So if you are interested in it, comment strategic below, and I will send you this prompt to start your strategic planning. And again, it's not just a, 6, 7 one-line word prompt. It's a very detailed prompt with several inputs that you need to put in to be able to give you the best output. So again, comment strategic below, and I'll be more than happy to send that to you. Now, the next thing is considering professional help. And given how complex some severance agreements are, some of them have, very ironclad non-competes, which honestly, a lot of them have been found to be unlawful these days. Or if you suspect discrimination or unfair treatment, you may want to consult with an attorney. Okay. Now, I know people have come to me describing their situation or sharing their agreement with me, asking me what I think. I can share with you what I think, but I'm not an attorney. And honestly, even though it costs money, you don't want to leave any money on the table and you want to have a peace of mind. So I always, most of the time, defer people to an attorney for solid legal advice. But outside of your employment attorneys, you may want to consult with financial planners is a good one, and career coaches who understand, both traditional and AI powered job searches. But the important thing here is to get the help that you need. Okay. Now, the last thing is the foundation phase mind shift. I can't tell you how many people I've met with that are so angry and bitter at their last employer because they feel like they've been wronged. And before I do anything with them, I tell them that we have got to get in the right headspace in order for us to move forward. And carrying that weight with you is absolutely going to be detrimental in your job search. Now, most people say, no, I don't talk like this, or I don't say anything in my interviews, but trust me, we pick it up, right? Because we ask you questions and we can pick up on nonverbal cues. And when you are carrying that negativity, it comes across. So I want you to do me a favor. I want you to go from this is what happened to me to this is happening for me. And when you're able to start seeing the layoff as the push that you needed to find something better, then you receive better. And I tell people all the time, I don't know most of the people that I've worked with and that I know that have been laid off, they end up in a better position. Either they have more work life balance, they have more pay, they're at a higher position. Rarely has anyone had to take a step back or take lesser pay. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't happen or it can't happen, but from my experience, even my own personal experience, even though I was laid off so many times, especially within a 5-year period, I can honestly look back and see why all those transitions took place, and I would not change it for the world. So the message here is please shift your mind from this is what happened to me to this is happening for me. And let's just forge ahead. Okay. Now, one insider move I want to discuss because I get this question all the time. The first one is about the reference letters. You can ask for reference letters, but what's even more potent and powerful are LinkedIn endorsements. LinkedIn endorsements are extremely beneficial to you during your job search because recruiters do take a look at it, okay? So you want to ask your manager and those that have worked, the closest with you for a LinkedIn endorsement. Now, to make it easy for people, I offer to provide them with a draft with some of the things we've worked on, or some of the things they've been able to observe me in, or I can provide them with key bullets, right? And if you want to be really strategic, if you are aware of a job that you may want, if you're wanting to pivot or do something different or break into an industry, then I would point out um, those keywords, those key characteristics, those key requirements that they can then speak to in your endorsements, because that can make all the difference. Okay. Now, when you're laid off, people are going to feel sorry for you. And a lot of people are going to ask you, is there anything that I can do? Don't be like me. I would say, okay, thank you for that. And don't respond. If I could go back, I would say, hey, can you write me a LinkedIn endorsement? I would absolutely do that. So don't miss that opportunity. The letters, you may have an opportunity to provide them, but the LinkedIn endorsements will have far more mileage than the actual letter. So when people ask if there's anything they can do for you, but, you know, especially your professional acquaintances, take them up on it and ask them for a LinkedIn endorsement. Okay. The second thing is the exit interview. Now, I'll say that most companies, if we are laying you off, we're not going to conduct an exit interview with you because we know you probably have an axe to grind. But in the event that they do meet with you to have an exit interview, don't use it to vent, but use it to gather intelligence about the company's future, about future layoffs, and to inquire if there are any potential opportunities down the road, maybe potential opportunities down the road, even for contracting or part-time jobs. But you can use that interview to your advantage. And then 3 is the AI-powered network notification. So when you are ready to notify your network, don't just tell them that you're looking for opportunities, because you're going to get the "aw," and you don't want that. Tell them that you are exploring your next chapter and see the response that you get. Now, I'm going to give you an AI prompt that you can use to help you craft a personalized message. And it says, hey, help me write a brief professional message to my network about my career transition. I want to sound strategic and confident and not desperate. Include that I'm taking my time to explore opportunities that align with my expertise in whatever area, and then ask me any other questions you may have to be able to execute this task successfully. So that's how you can use AI to help you craft a really strong, compelling message. And when you see that compared to, hey, I'm seeking opportunities, or looking for opportunities, it's definitely received differently. So definitely use AI to help craft a stronger message. So there you have it. Those are things to do when you've been notified that your services are no longer needed. Remember to, use the hashtags below with the prompts that I suggest, and I'll be more than happy to send those to you. Because look, this is the thing. There's so many layoffs taking place now. And there are so many people who let their layoff happen to them. But we're not going to do that here because we are elite athletes and we're bringing our A game to the job search. So we are the people who are going to take control and follow a system and use AI to our advantage to turn these setbacks into comebacks. So the F48 system is not just about surviving. It really is about setting yourself up for success and landing in a better position than what you had faster than you thought possible. So I hope you were able to learn something that's useful for you. Again, if you know of anybody that can use this information, send this to you, send this to them. Like I said, I think we're going to see more layoffs occurring between now and the end of October, because October tends to be a busy month for layoffs as companies are trying to make their numbers. So send this to people ahead of time so that they can get ready or stay ready so they don't have to get ready, right? Because the more you can prepare these things in advance, the more confident you feel in the moment. But, remember, this is Exit to Excel, and we don't use our layoff as limitations. We use them as launching pads. So with that, I wish you the best, and I'll see you next time. This is LaTanya, also known as LT, signing off. Have a good one.